Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the Furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 18, episode 10, and today we're back for the biggest game of the series as we play the Champions League final against Arsenal, hoping to win the biggest competition in Europe. We're back on our profile screen just for a quick update. We've signed a new 4.5-year deal, taking us up to the summer of 2040 on 155 grand a week now, the real big bucks for the Torquay manager, and a 4.5-star reputation too. We really are coming along quite nicely. The other reason we're on this screen is so you can see our list of career milestones stacking up. We really are coming along quite nicely now. We've won so many competitions at all different levels of the game in our 18-year spanning as Torquay manager. We're coming up to 1,000 career matches as well, an achievement we should reach next year, so that's something we can really look forward to as well, and a moment I'm quite excited for. But let's go and have a look at our inbox first, before we go and get into this Champions League game. Of course you can now see the FA Cup final result as well, as we did secure the domestic double in yesterday's episode. Alex Andrade, I'm afraid, has not made it back to fitness, and not even fit enough that we can risk him on the bench. 80% condition, 68 sharpness, and still considered to be an injury threat. Luca Wagner is back though. In the other hand, the 5-star left back will be starting today. Bruno Moraes on the bench as a backup if need be. Of course he did a decent job in the FA Cup final. Speaking of that game, for any of you who missed it, you should go back and check it out because it was a pretty decent game. A 3-2 victory in the end for us, as Palace gave us a little bit of a scare late on. Of course we had a reunion with Owen Jack, a club legend from earlier in our series. He was the man who basically took us to championship level, and for Crystal Palace he's been a hero for 12 years. But we're all here for the Champions League final, so let's not hold things up any longer. It's obviously the biggest game of the season and the biggest of the series, so we've got a lot of work to do today, and thankfully Arsenal are missing a few players too. We rolled them over in the Premier League when we were chasing the title earlier this year, and maybe that psychological advantage will be good, but of course we have no real idea how that will affect us yet. We've got 12 substitutes for the Champions League final, so bar Andrade who's got a knock, every single player's on the bench, and it just gives us so many different options, in attack and defence if we need different scenarios, and also for young players if we're winning comfortably. But the lineup bar the left back is exactly the same as the cup final, and you probably didn't expect anything different. We've got Stojanovic in goal as the sweeper keeper, Cura and Wagner the fullbacks, McDonald and Singy centre half with Bacanes in the holding role, Omar and Keita in the middle with Yiladian and Silla on the wings, and Marco Gracia up front again. Reached 10 goals for the season in the FA Cup final, after being the star in both legs of the Champions League semi. But of course it's first v second in the Premier League as we play in the Champions League final. English side certainly dominating this year. Arsenal performed a spectacular comeback against PSG, doing a brilliant job at the Parc des Princes, and of course we've had a pretty poor time of it as well, just edging through against Real Madrid. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Arsenal as they look to go all out attacking this game. They've got plenty of good players in the side and we recognise most of them, and of course they've got a stronger squad on the bench. We've got a decent lineup out ourselves though, so as long as we don't get any injuries, it should be a pretty good game. So let's go and tell the lads to prove a point. Of course Stuart Jelling's going to recommend that team talk. 5 players motivated and most of the rest keen. Stojanovic at the back just nodding in agreement, and hopefully that'll do enough to make him perform. Of course there's plenty of Torquay fans in the background there. Doesn't really look like the Millennium Stadium. All a bit yellow there for our liking. It's almost as if we were at Torquay. It's Omar in the middle with the ball, but the highlight ends pretty quickly as Arsenal deliver a corner to the back stick. But with 90 seconds gone, there's been no real chances as Stojanovic claims this one in goal. Goes for a long kick over the top towards Gracia. He beats the defender and he's in. And what a finish, Marco Gracia. The biggest game of the series. A man who's had a really poor year up till April, struggled to settle in here. What a finish that was though, and with a couple of minutes on the clock, Gracia puts us ahead in the Champions League final. His 3rd goal in a row in the Champions League, all of them coming in the semi or final. So put it into perspective, after a really poor year, he scored in both legs of the semi-final against Real Madrid, the FA Cup final as well at Wembley, and now he scored one in the Champions League final, and he's in again, and he scored again. 10 minutes gone, it's 2-0, the ball was given given away by Arsenal at the back. The left back tried to clear it and it wasn't a good ball across goal. Silla knocked it down and put Gracia in, onto his left foot and hammered it home. Disappointing for Curtis to be beaten at his near post as we've gone 3-0 up now. What on earth is going on here? We're not even getting a chance to explain the goals. They're flying in left, right and centre and we could not have asked for a more dream start. The ball came out from a corner as Nsingi tried to win the header and Yaladian fired it in on the volley from the edge of the box. Another man we doubted in his first year at the club, but he's firmly established himself as a star now. 20 minutes gone and we lead 3-0 and you won't get a much more breathless start than that. The Champions League is pretty much won already. What a dream it's been so far and surely we can't throw it away from here. It's a free kick for Omar 25 yards out, hits the wall and it's cleared away. Might have even hit one of his own men actually, as Vinicius brings it away on the counter. Charging down the right and inside to Delgado. We're a little bit open in the middle of the box there, but as he gives it back to Montero, the highlight ends. I don't really know why we saw it. Delgado picks it up in the centre of midfield for Arsenal. Just trying to play it from deep here. Of course they gave the ball away in deep areas a couple of times and it's led to a lot of their problems today actually, but I can't get over the euphoria of being 3-0 up and I can't really explain what's happened at the start. Such a big side with big game experience, won a lot of Premier League titles recently, but Arsenal have completely bottled it here. Of course they're coming forward now with Navarro and he tries to test the keeper, but he's straight into the arms of Stojanovic and it's a really comfortable save. Cura goes down the line to Yaladian as we start another attack, and if we could go 4-0 up I would start to celebrate and talk about lifting the trophy already. Wagner at left back inside to Keita. He finds Omar 30 yards out. Back to Keita who's got time again, goes for the shot but it's just over the bar. 10 minutes to the break and I can't remember a better moment in this series. We've waited 18 years to get to this point and we finally get to that Champions League final and play like this in the first half. Yes, Arsenal have given us a few gifts, but this has been an absolutely dream first half performance. It's De Los Santos as Arsenal insist on playing it out from the back and in the end they've been forced back to Curtis again, who hits it long downfield and Zingy heads away and now the Arsenal midfielder misses it. Gracia shoots as Yaladian lays it off. It's narrowly wide of the post and it had beaten the keeper as Curtis plays out short again. Delgado back to him for a second time. Up to De Los Santos who has a bit more time, but he goes back to Curtis on the third occasion. Arsenal just cannot get out from here. Centre half to keeper and back again, and now McDonald pumps it forward. And Singy wins a second header for Omar. Arsenal cannot get out at this moment. 9 shots to 2 and Omar's in again. Finds Silla on the left who shoots. Curtis with a brilliant save and it's back out, and Arsenal hack it behind for a corner. The front three have been absolutely deadly as Omar whips it in again. Oh, it's down for Keita who hits the post. The corner's headed away. Keita nods it back in from the edge of the box. It rattles the post and it's behind for another corner. Omar into McDonald. I thought it was 4 but I saw the flag early. He's adjudged to have been offside but the corner went backwards, so I can only assume it was meant to be a foul. Tong with a throw in on the left. The England skipper's had a nightmare so far. He was at fault for that third goal giving it away, or the second one, sorry, to Gracia. Arsenal shoot from 30 yards, is comfortably wide of the post, and we can deal with what they're offering all day at the moment, as Silla's in at the back stick again. A brilliant cross from the right back Cura, who's been overlapping for fun in this first half, but Silla heads it wide of the post, and on the stroke of half time, it's 3-0 remarkably at the Millennium Stadium. A brilliant performance, and we blew them away in 15 minutes, and surely now it's just a comfortable stroll to the finish. The half-time whistle goes, it's been absolutely sensational. Not the most accurate depiction of the Millennium Stadium, but we can only tell the lads we're pleased with them, and that's how good we've been in this first half. Stuart Jelling didn't ask the lads to prove a point. There's nothing to prove after that half, they've just got to do exactly the same again. We've taken a breath and we're getting back into the second half. Navarro with a kick-off for Arsenal, and hopefully this one will be a stroll as well. A fourth goal would really just kill it off, but I think we're getting a little bit greedy now. 3-0 up in a Champions League final. I probably shouldn't be asking for too much more. Maybe Gracia can complete his hat-trick and really become a hero with the Torquay fans. Of course, after a difficult season, it would be a really sweet moment, as there's now just a quarter of the game to go, and if he gets it, we could bring on Stuart John as well. Gracia's in as we speak, week and he puts it just wide, created the chance himself with a mazy run, but unfortunately no end product on this occasion. Fabio with a corner in for Arsenal. Fletcher nods it down to Plomper, and again we get a body in the way via Cura, and it's hacked away for a throw to Arsenal. Just under 20 minutes left and it's Omar to deliver. McDonald's in and loses out in the air. Yeladian brings it down, but no special finishes this time. Conceição bringing it away on the counter. Delgado for Arsenal on the halfway line. Long ball forward towards the left winger, but Nsingi intercepts and Keita nods it down. So much composure across the pitch for us. Arsenal have had more shots in the second half, but not created anything clear. And now Keita's in one-on-one. Gracia turns provider with a beautiful reverse pass. And we lead 4-0 with 20 minutes left. And I'm now going to make some changes. Gracia's got a yellow card, so I know he'll be disappointed to come off, but Stuart John, the youth prospect, at just 18 or 19 years of age, is going to make an appearance in the Champions League final, and that is a moment he'll never forget. We've got Ray Probert on the bench as well. He's going to come on for Omar, who honestly thought we'd get to do this in the Champions League final, bring on all of our youth prospects, and we might as well complete the set while we're at it. Richard Quirk coming on at right back. He's of course a little bit older, but a Champions League final so special, and 3 Torquay United Academy products are now on the pitch in this match. 10 minutes to go and we lead so comfortably, and it now says it's 5-0 there. What on earth is going on? Can someone tell me? The latest event updates in the middle of the screen say 5-0 with Gracia scoring after 74. I wanted to click on it to find out what actually happened, but I'm scared it would crash the game, and I really don't want to do that. As long as there aren't any problems, I'm a happy man. It's still 4-0 and Stuart John's in. Block to Probert, who gets another chance. He crosses for John and it falls for Silla. Brilliant save by Wayne Curtis. He's actually had a decent game, the Arsenal keeper, despite the fact we're leading 4-0. But I really don't know what that glitch is about there. It says 4-0 at the bottom as well, but at the top there's a goal update for Gracia. He wasn't even on the pitch at that point either, actually. So what on earth is going on? Has anyone seen anything like that in their game? It's detracting my attention from our brilliant performance. Quirk with a throw on the left-hand side. Wagner back to Quirk again. Just 30 seconds left of stoppage time before we get to live the big European trophy. The moment we've been waiting for 18 years. And of course it's going to end a famous treble. A brilliant season and one of the best we could have asked for, as Probert puts a shot comfortably wide. The final whistle's about to go as Tertis takes the kick, and we've won the Champions League final 4-0. A brilliant performance, the pink and grey suits out. We star at the Millennium Stadium, the worst depiction of it you could imagine, but there is the Champions League trophy lifted high, and it's a brilliant performance and win against Arsenal. We said after the Palace game we'd have to be better in this one, and my word did we turn up to the party here. The lads are confident and delighted. What else could you possibly expect? And it shows just how strong our squad is, as we were missing our star striker for this match. We'll go and look at the media messages, of course. A famous quadruple according to the media. They've included the Community Shield, but let's just take that bit aside. We won the Champions League, Premier League and FA Cup, the Holy Grail in terms of an English treble, and they still want to talk about the embarrassment of being knocked out the Carabao Cup by Fulham. They really have got to grow up with that. Torquay United lift the Champions League for the first time in the club's history, and we complete a set of 5 out of 6 big trophies, with the European Super Cup hopefully to follow. We'll get our second chance at that one next year, and it will be a competition we're very focused on, but the first 15 minutes of that game wrapped it up. It was a brilliant lightning start in our performance. Again, we followed our usual trait with just 38% possession, but we dominated the match with fast attacking counters, and it's really worked out brilliantly for us, as of course we've won the big treble. The bonuses paid out to players have of course added up a little bit, but we receive over 17 million for that performance, and of course by winning the Champions League final. There's another 10 million up there, that one's for television revenue. The Torquay supporters are of course praising our outstanding success. Lucas Bedger's getting involved there, really nice to see his name about. The board of course getting very excited, and they can't really say anything different. Keita was brilliant, we'll go and praise him, and quite frankly I'd happily praise anyone at this point. Another 9 million there as well. Coefficient ranking pool, don't need to worry about what that means. The squad get a payout of 7.5, and we've got a Champions League review with only one important bit of news on there. We have won the Champions League. Hearts also the overachievers. I'm running out of steam after that brilliant first 15 minutes, so let's go and do our end of season review quickly. Of course it's absolutely brilliant across the board, no one out injured for long term, just Alex Andrade making his way back, and I'm sure he'll be back in form by the start of the season, just as Omar was at the start of this one. In terms of average rating, Kyle McDonald's top of the pile, the centre half's been brilliant all year. Omar's in second place again above a 7.4, with Luca Wagner and Torquay Hull taking their places in the 7.3s. Almost everyone above a 7 there, Stojanovic not far behind, and then Marco Gracia, one of the lowest ranked players, had a pretty poor season as we mentioned, but of course he came to the party late on. We'd exchange a poor season for winning us the Champions League, and what an absolute hero he's going to turn out to be. The two youngsters are down there as well as Gerben Bacanez, who unfortunately spent part of the season unhappy. He kept getting attracted to the attention from Chelsea and Tottenham, and it did affect his form early this season. But we were so keen to keep hold of him, and he should really be thanking us now, as Chelsea finished in 9th place and Tottenham down in 13th. But back to the squad, if we go in order of appearances, Stojanovic top on 52, Yeladian made 49 as did Silla, but 4 of theirs were each off the bench, and then Omar and Cura with 47 starts, both of them making enormous contributions. In terms of goals, it's Andrade top on 26, who remembers that goal drought of 2 years ago? Of course no one really cares about it now. It was a really interesting season actually, and sticks out like a sore thumb in comparison to his other 3. Next on the list is Omar. He obviously had a brilliant season as well. 17 goals and 16 assists to go with it. Quite a sensational performance by the Brazilian, considering he was out for 3 or 4 months at the end of last year. Only come back about halfway through pre-season, and he's completely picked up exactly where he left off. So a brilliant performance from him, and the 4 other players to reach it to double figures, Yeladian and Silla the 2 wingers, Malik Kante with a brilliant contribution from central midfield with 11, and then Marco Gracia reaching 12 in the end, despite a pretty poor start to his time here. Brune and Keita with 7 and 6 respectively. Brune's done a pretty good job for us this year, and plenty of defenders popping up with 4 or 5, as we've really scored goals all over the park. It's been a big difference to last year where we've been much more proficient in front of goal, but of course we've let in a few more at the back. In terms of assists, we've got plenty of players there as well. 2 more that have got plenty this year. Omar top of the pile with 16 as we mentioned. Pedro Cura contributing 11. His delivery's been brilliant from the right hand side, and to be fair Wagner's got 6 from the left as well. Yeladian with 9 and 7 for Souza. The right wing seems to be where most of the crosses come. Silla's charging in and scoring goals from the left, and the other side they're just putting in all the deliveries. But a brilliant season and a fantastic squad we've assembled here. Of course there's not too much we can do to improve it, but I still want to know your thoughts down in the comments. Bearing in mind the homegrown quota we've got, we'd love to keep Montano instead of McMahon, but of course that isn't always possible. So let me know where you think we should improve in the summer, if there is one position you think we can get better. In terms of star rating, Silla's the worst in the team, but his rating suggests otherwise this year, as he's comfortably reached a 7 yet again. I'll show you his profile just to put it into perspective. The worst player in our starting 11, 3-star ability, 3-star potential, and I tell you what, I didn't realise he was 29 now, so maybe we have got to think about that, as his backup Kozzel with 31 as well. So sell Kozzel, get Silla as the backup, and try and bring in a top class left winger. I think I've answered my own question, but let me know if you think there's anything different we need to do. But of course, if you did enjoy this episode and that wonderful display in the Champions League final, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It felt like all that hard work came to a head in that game, as we just performed perfectly from start to finish. Arsenal didn't really have a sniff for much of it, and the only times they did we put our bodies on the line. Going forward, we were clinical, we were quick, we were exciting, and on the counter-attack we looked absolutely deadly, which is what I want my sides to be. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from this Torquay United story. We should squeeze in at least one more full season before FM20, but in the meantime keep your eyes peeled on Saturday afternoons. At 4:30 we'll have announcements about FM20. We had our first one last weekend, so do go back and catch up if you haven't seen it. Really contain quite a lot of information, our plans for FM20, the schedule we're going to adhere to, and it obviously had a vote in there as well, which allowed you to choose between 2 series later in the year to help shape some of the content on the channel. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. That will continue to the release of FM22, where we'll continue with 2 episodes a week from that point. A massive thank you to everyone who continues to support that series, as well as the Ashes Test playthrough we did beforehand, and then finally our Snooker 19 careers coming to an end. That one's on Friday at 4:30. We're trying to finish with the ultimate glory of winning the Snooker World Championship and emulating our namesake Ronnie O'Sullivan, but of course that's easier said than done, and we'll have action from every round on our road to the final. Hopefully we'll be able to make it all the way, but of course it could still end in dramatic failure. But a massive thanks for watching this one and following along for another season as always. I hope the ending made it worthwhile, as it's certainly been a famous year for Torquay. Plenty of firsts and some massive milestones for us personally, and we'll be back on Sunday with the start of a new season as we bid to try and do it all again.